Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 898, we're going to talk about Evelyn the Covetous. So for 5 mana, which is this not one of the weirdest casting costs you've ever seen? Hybrid, black, hybrid. So we can cast this for 5 black mana, if we want to. But anyway, Vampire Rogue 2/5 Flash. That's wild. Whenever Evelyn or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, everybody's turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it if it was exiled by an ability you control, and you may spend mana or mana of any color to cast it. So, colors don't matter. And every time, I love that wording, her or another vampire enters the battlefield, not cast. So I have seen this deck played. Good buddy of mine, I played against it. Jim played it, and he got the reflections of Litjara. This went nuclear. I'm telling you. I have 40 vampires in the deck. It is a vampire deck because I want to trigger that ability as much as absolutely possible. It's not that I want the vampires to be a tribe. It's that I want the vampires to let me play all the best stuff from my opponents, which is exactly what happened. He had, it was a big 4 or 5, I think it was a 5-player game. He had 20 cards from all of us. So just options upon options. You're never going to miss a land drop. You're always going to have that sweet removal. You're playing, 5 decks, essentially. It's beautiful. Let's look at our color fixing first, because we are playing 3 colors, We have the Spectral Searchlight and the Commander Sphere. A couple signets, Izzet and Rakdos. The Lockets, Dimir and Rakdos. Now, card draw. Painful. I don't have a lot of card draw because effectively I use those slots for more vampires because that gives us access to a whole slew of new cards. But I do have Ponder and, of course, Distant Melody. We don't get to play with blue a lot in Vampire Tribal, so I really want to take advantage of Distant Melody. Before we get into the actual vampires, let's look at what I'm going to call vampire adjacent cards, Vampire's Vengeance. It's a pyroclasm that doesn't hit any of our creatures. Stensium Masquerade. Now all of our creatures have first strike. I mean, while we're playing them, we might as well be swinging with them, right? And then when they deal combat damage, they get bigger. The Glass Cast Heart, making those blood tokens, and then of course the blood tribute to Half-Life somebody. So let's get into our vampires now. This is the bulk of the deck. Like I said, there's 40 vampires here. Bloodline Necromancer. Now there's vampires with every ability, right? I did use a lot of the blood token sub-theme in Crimson Vow, because let's face it, we just got it and we can. Now, Thief of Blood, just an amazing vampire anyway, stealing all the counters. Maestros Diabolist. Death Touch Haste, 1/4. Hey, and it makes more tokens. Why not? Vampire Scrivener. Olivia's Bloodsworn. Drana. Asylum Visitor. Crimson Honor Guard. Falkenrath Exterminator, Havengold Vampire, Vampire Hexmage. We all know that this was made to destroy Planeswalkers because we got it in the set shortly thereafter we got Planeswalkers, but it's a great vampire. Blood Petal Celebrant, Blood Tithe Harvester, that Nighthawk Scavenger, not bad. Gluttonous Guest, Voldaren Epicure, Blood Hypnotist, Rakish Heir, Falkenrath Aristocrat, have a home for that Twilight profit that we're all pulling out of set boosters. So, might as well. Vampire Socialite. Here again, I cannot preach how good this card is in a vampire deck. If you're playing a vampire deck, you really want Vampire Socialite. I'm surprised this card has not skyrocketed. Anyway. Corpse Appraiser. Stormkirk Captain. Blood Crazed Socialite. Yes, if you'll notice, a lot of these are foils. They're in the matte sleeves, so it doesn't really pop as foils. Full vampires is a thing that goes way back. Shiny vampires, I don't know. I had a kid who was... Anyway. Falconwrath Celebrants. Glamorous Outlaw. Half Vampire and Rogue. Fiend of Shadows. Vampire Nighthawk's always a good one. Restless Bloodseeker. Cormella. I mean, it's only for instant and sorceries, but hey. Sanguine Spy. Vampire of the Dire Moon. Cutthroat Contender. Midnight Assassin. Belligerent Guest. Dark Imposter. You know I had to do it, right? Singir Vampire. Original art. Had to do it. Bold Plagiarist. And then Mary the Killing Quill. So, that is our triggers. Essentially, our tribe to just... We want our commander in play and to start casting vampires so we can get access to all those cards. Which, we're bound to find something to swing the battle in our favor. Next, we go to removal. Of course, we have Croesus's Charm. Destroys a creature or an artifact. You can bounce a permanent if you need to, negate, murder, abrade, all pretty good. Rakdos Charm. Deathmark. An offer you can't refuse. I'm telling you, this card's a good card. And then Sleep. While Sleep is not creature removal or any kind of removal at all, it can be player removal. Because I think people are sleeping on the... Oh my god. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway. This card don't see enough play. Think about it. It's a sorcery, so we're going to cast this during our main phase. Depending on who you cast this at the table... Obviously, you're probably going to do the biggest creature threat at the table. Taps their team, and they don't untap. So then, they go a revolution around the table, probably a revolution and a half, of not having blockers. That can be just the death knell for a player. So let's look at our non-basic lands. We have the Command Tower. Maestro's Theater. Now, I kind of like these instant. They are really close to the panoramas, but they're instant. As soon as you drop them, you sack them and you go get. It's good for the double landfall triggers, if that's your thing. Sulphurous Mire, Rakdos Carnium, Swiftwater Cliffs, Jwar Owl Refuge, Dismal Backwater, Crumbling Necropolis, Terramorphic Expanse, Volatile Fjord, Highland Lake, Submerged Boneyard, Evolving Wilds, Occam Refuge, is it Guildgate, Ice Tunnel, and the Drossforge Bridge. And that is it for Evelyn. That was kind of quick because we just peeled right through the vampires, but I wanted to try to maximize the commander's ability as much as I possibly could. So, in order to do that, you've got to have a whole lot of vampires. Now, I know there's probably other builds out there But I really like that. That Reflections of Littjara is, and to be honest with you, if I had like a copy enchantment or something like that to make another oh, that would be silly. Anyway, in the game Jim played it, he was able to steal Clay's doubling season. Yeah, that was nuts. So 898 is going to go onto the wall. We're getting close to the big 900 mark. Do y'all know what it is? Did I tell you what it is? Can't remember. Anyway, that's what we have got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching, liking, sharing, all that stuff. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.